Big Boss Jock Radio Show. Listeners are encouraged to rise up, revolt, confront the U.S. government, liberate the Confederate States of America, the Alamo, placed as the Capitol. Analyst Assessment, Episode 33. Video clip uploaded by NBC News on April 5, 2019. Clip entitled, Watch Live, Trump Participates in Immigration and Border Security Roundtable. Airtime, 52 minutes, 2 seconds. Enter into the clip, 13 minutes, 51 seconds. Before beginning, again, we'll mention the court date, May 23rd. Shasta County Superior Court, Redding, California, May 23rd, 2019, 8:30 in the morning. Would appreciate some assistance. Any witnesses that noticed the knife on my hip for 5 months? Monday through Friday protest out on the doorstep of the Redding Police Department. The knife was a usual part of the attire. Any federal agents out there that know about this information that's being presented? Not at current moment, the pages that are posted, they contain detail after detail of USDIA activities. USDIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, that only an operator could know. Details, one after another. They might not know me, though they could present themselves and say they know something about that information. That's quite troubling, what's going on, that I'm not recognized as U.S. Federal Agent Earl Hawkins. 13 minutes, 51 seconds. No, at 8 seconds. DOD. Gloria, she mentions, and that's yes. She mentions about the DOD. Then she mentions about Marines. And she makes it sound as if they're just Marines, not U.S. Marines. It's necessary to put U.S. Marines, U.S. Armed Forces. They aren't just the Armed Forces. Gloria's division isn't just the Border Patrol. Shouldn't be, and the U.S. citizen has accepted that's the name. By doing so, or names, by doing so, they've lost their identity. They don't have much importance as a U.S. citizen. They're termed a person, part of a group of people, oftentimes referred to as them, they. So are illegal migrants, with the same names, terms. They, them, are a person and a group of people. Through the computer-generated dialogue, the listener is thinking in the abstract and taking that idea and placing themselves, if they're a U.S. citizen, at the level of an illegal migrant. They're the same as them, they. They're being termed a person, being termed in the same way, instead of respected as a U.S. citizen, represented by their government. They're having their nation taken away through being stripped of their identity. The computer-generated dialogue, such as the computer-generated style, the population picked up a way which is immoral, saw that as favorable. They need to change their way, take a different path, step back and assess the situation first. Understand where things went wrong and what needs to happen. When they understand they're going to lose their nation, which they will understand at the end of the 52 minutes, USDIA makes quite clear their intentions. Inaction will lead to loss of citizenship, ushered underground. A population unarmed. Understand that. Be part of the solution. Join up with the revolution. Liberate the Confederate States of America. The Alamo, placed as the capital. Analytical thinking uses numbers oftentimes or hard facts and needs to sum those facts. That's the analytical part of the brain. That takes part in the conscious part of the mind. The subconscious part of the mind thinks in the abstract, such as when they're imagining being you, another in the group of people termed us or ours, part of we, as if daydreaming. They need to come up with the description and apply. Not sure where to appropriate. Do the misuse of other words such as he and she and it, without first a title being stated, a name placed to the he, she, or it. Simple 4th grade level, elementary level school English. What's being spoken is rubbish with the intent to brainwash. Not this what's being spoken, what's being placed to the screen. The computer generated nonsense, but it's clever nonsense. Leaves the listener sickened with a mental disorder, dissociative identity disorder. They associate in the abstract with their best friend named you. They lock on, know what to do. They convert that to I and are instructed another time. Might be me. Either way, they know the meaning. They receive the instruction and are ready at a future date to repeat whatever has been instructed. The you, as with the we programming, is at a heightened level being placed to the computer-generated dialogue. And the public is oblivious because Yankee Sam doesn't instruct them that the U.S. government places computer generation to the programs. Not only the 52 minutes at Calexico, every program since 1993. The USDIA. Yeah, it is a covert operation. Go ahead though, it's not so covert. It takes people remaining silent. Any person who has worked at a local TV station, they're aware, many of them, that what goes on at that station and what goes on the air and is seen on the screen is two different things. They have to sign a confidentiality agreement under the Executive Order USDIA Directorate, mandated in 1993. It took years for the population to reach this, where they're at current date. The amount of programming that's placed to the dialogue, the we, the you, the incessant backwards riddle to the fiddle. They program the tune and at a later date know what to do. Have been subjected to abuse. Sickened. And the entire population. Even if they chose not to watch the screen, they abstained. They knew that there was something wrong. If they have social contact, the others, by repeating the same type of dialogue, sicken anyone that they have contact with. So if the person interacted in society, they've been subjected to the MK Ultra programming, even if they turned off the programs. At a lesson level, but still, at a heightened level, are ready to give up their nation. As a group, Yankee is ready. They've been conditioned to accept that very soon. Just couldn't do it. Nation's bankrupt. They'll term it our country is bankrupt. And they'll have the reasons. Years of mismanagement that won't be explained. A debt that can't be paid. Restrictions for the first time ever placed by the debt holder needs to be paid. And will insist. And there will not be unity between the U.S. citizens due to the disconformity. There will be the breakup of the territory. It's all planned. Pantomime action of Gloria at 15 minutes 50 seconds. Lifted both hands, motioned towards the audience. Statement made Gloria, really, all of you guys, she became a guy. Example given of why. Oh, yeah, so her motion means you, the agents at the U.S. Border Patrol. Instead, it's really all of you guys. There's women among the group. They became a dude due to they associated as a guy. 15 minutes, 55 seconds. Statement made, Dawn. No, I mean, I don't term a woman a dude, nor do I term her a guy. A guy rhymes with gay, a term for a man. The word set forth, put out there by the programmers for the population to take that term, specifically the women included, neutered sex population. 15 minutes, 55 seconds, statement made, Dawn. That 45% is coming around and people are watching, aren't going over. Pantomime action, Dawn made motion of hugging, and it was, oh, I see, it was as if we're supposed to perceive the viewer that it meant surround. Listen, people, the programmers, the USDIA, are using pantomime. The viewer is being conditioned to the sign language. In turn, they also emulate the way of who they admire or who they choose to watch. In this case, Dawn. The style rubs off. Whether they agree or not, they perceive. They use primal instinct. So when pantomime is used, such as a baby, when they're interacting with the guardian, or say, for example, the mother, they know by the actions what's going to happen. It's primal instinct. So when the programmer, the USDIA, puts pantomime to the conversation, the listener becomes conditioned to the sign language. Their subconscious, because the dialogue is so confusing, will grasp at anything easily understood and reverts to primal instinct when necessary. So in this case, another time the listener is conditioned to pantomime. Another thing that should be brought out is that sufferers of dissociative identity disorder, they oftentimes pantomime instead of verbally express themselves. Dissociative identity disorder is a mental sickness that is at the center of the MK Ultra pyramid. So if the population suffers from the same sickness that the entire pyramid functions upon, benefits the ones at the top of the pyramid. If the ones at the lower pyramid, or all throughout the pyramid, turn off the programming, begin to think spontaneously due to they used a logical thought process known as the deductive thought process, came up with a logical conclusion using their deductive skills at assessing the information, coming up with a picture, making a logical conclusion, having that impression in their mind due to that they assembled the details, not that the details were planted into their mind to be repeated at a future date. Repeated anything that was instructed, tied to the impression. It's programming that's being carried out all through the 52 minutes, and for that matter on every program. Any public broadcast, due to U.S. national security reasons, since 1993. Encouraged are the listeners to rise up, revolt, confront the U.S. government, liberate the Confederate States of America, the Alamo, placed as the Capitol. Our one only God, He helps me do this rhyme, line by line. I do give my thanks, along with gratitude, for our Father in heaven, our one only God. It's the Big Boss Chuck, signing off.